In Episode 5, Question Styles, Difficulty, and Timing, we turn from structure to experience, what it actually feels like to sit for the PMI RMP exam. Understanding how questions are written helps you respond with composure instead of surprise. Each item tests more than recall. It measures reasoning under mild pressure. The exam's language is deliberate, and its design expects you to interpret nuance, sequence, and ethics with equal confidence. When you know how these questions behave, how they hide clues, blend logic, and vary difficulty, you can treat the test as a familiar landscape rather than a guessing game.
The dominant format is the single best answer question. 4 options appear, each plausible enough to tempt a quick reader, but only one is correct given the full context. The key lies in single best, not only. Sometimes 2 answers look reasonable, but one fits the scenario more precisely. PMI questions avoid trickery yet reward precision. Many distractors are partial truths, steps that might work under different conditions but fail the specific moment described. To succeed, slow down just enough to separate general advice from situational accuracy. The exam values discrimination over speed, testing judgment rather than reflex.
A growing number of questions unfold as multi-step scenarios, short story chains that evolve over 2 or 3 prompts. The first describes a project phase. The next adds new information or consequences. You must connect the dots across statements, inferring intent and timing. These chains measure synthesis. Can you integrate clues and see progression? Treat them like brief case studies where early hints affect later answers. They resemble real decision-making more than isolated trivia. The best way to prepare is to practice reading comprehension as much as memorization, training yourself to hold context in working memory while evaluating choices. One subtle difficulty involves differentiating between a prior best action and a first action. Many scenario questions describe problems already underway. The correct answer may not fix the issue immediately. It identifies what should have been done earlier or what step logically precedes others. This sequencing trips many candidates who rush toward resolution. When you see words like should have, most appropriate next, or initial, pause and anchor in chronology. PMI assesses process thinking, whether you recognize order, escalation, and readiness. Correct answers usually reflect measured progression, not firefighting urgency. Thinking in steps rather than reactions ensures consistency across the exam. Risk framing itself can shift between threats and opportunities, and the question phrasing signals which side you are on. Words like avoid, reduce, or mitigate point toward threats. Terms such as enhance, exploit, or share signal opportunities. Missing that clue can flip the logic of an entire question. Remember that the PMI RMP exam treats both as legitimate risks requiring structured management. Read verbs carefully, they reveal intent. An opportunity misread as a threat can make a sound strategy appear wrong. The exam rewards candidates who stay balanced, recognizing that uncertainty can bring gains as easily as losses when guided wisely. Ethics and policy edge cases appear periodically to test integrity as much as technical skill. These questions might describe a supervisor asking you to overlook documentation or a client offering gifts in exchange for access. None require memorizing laws. They require alignment with the Project Management Institute's Code of Ethics. The correct answer usually protects transparency, fairness, or confidentiality, even at the cost of convenience. When in doubt, choose the option that upholds trust and public interest. Ethical scenarios gauge judgment under subtle pressure, the kind professionals face when rules meet relationships. Handling them correctly reflects maturity, not memorization. Eliminating wrong options efficiently can save minutes across the exam. Pay attention to linguistic tells. Absolutes like always or never often indicate errors unless tied to ethical obligations. Overly broad or vague options, communicate with stakeholders without specifying purpose, tend to distract rather than solve. Watch for logical mismatches where the proposed action contradicts scenario conditions. Many distractors reuse key words from the question stem to appear familiar. Genuine answers extend logic rather than repeat it. The best strategy is progressive elimination. Discard 2 clearly weak options, then reason between the remaining pair. Critical reading, not gut instinct, drives accuracy. Timing strategy transforms endurance into performance. Divide the 170 questions into manageable blocks, perhaps 50, 60, and 60, with brief pauses for recalibration. Each block should include a small time buffer for flagged items. Avoid spending more than a minute and a half per question on first pass. Use micro buffers, short 5-second resets to refocus eyes and posture. The goal is sustainable rhythm, not relentless pace. Candidates who plan timing deliberately finish calmly with review space remaining. Those who wing it often end strong but unfinished. Consistent pacing is quiet discipline, the invisible difference between competence and chaos. Flagging is a helpful feature, but only when used sparingly. Flag questions that truly need reconsideration, not every uncertain guess. Overflagging creates clutter and decision fatigue during review. Develop revisit discipline. When you return, read only the stem and your previous reasoning notes, not every option anew. Trust your first instincts unless a clear logic error appears. Excessive second-guessing leads to answer switching, which statistically lowers scores. The flag system is a safety net, not a substitute for confidence. Properly managed, it lets you capture low-hanging improvements without draining time from solid sections. Guessing under uncertainty is a valid tactic, not failure. There is no penalty for incorrect answers, so leaving blanks guarantees lost points. When faced with confusion, apply structured guessing. Remove obvious errors, choose between remaining plausible options, and move on. Avoid emotional choices. Picking the longest sentence or repeating patterns rarely helps. The PMI-RMP exam rewards logic even in partial information. A rational guess, informed by elimination and domain awareness, statistically yields better results than hesitation. Think of each guess as a small calculated risk, consistent with the mindset you are being tested to master. Confidence naturally fluctuates during a long exam. One difficult stretch can shake rhythm. An easy streak can breed overconfidence. Recognize these swings as normal physiological responses, not signs of readiness. When momentum drops, reset posture, take a breath, and re-anchor in pacing. Avoid self-talk about performance mid-exam. It drains focus. The best candidates treat each question as independent, unaffected by the last. Emotional steadiness becomes as important as technical knowledge. Mental fatigue amplifies doubt, but awareness restores control. Train for endurance as you study, not just accuracy. Calm attention converts stress into steady execution. Practice dry runs under realistic conditions before test day. Simulate 3-hour sessions with full question sets, timing checkpoints, and short breaks. This rehearsal reveals not only knowledge gaps, but also stamina limits. Record how many questions you comfortably complete per hour. Adjust block sizes accordingly. Familiarity with the interface, flag buttons, navigation tools, and review functions builds muscle memory that frees mental space for analysis. By the third or fourth dry run, your timing pattern will feel natural, leaving nothing new to learn under pressure. Repetition transforms anxiety into routine, and routine becomes confidence. Every exam favors the prepared mind, but the PMI-RMP favors the steady one. Questions are designed to test applied reasoning, not speed tricks. Success depends on methodical execution, reading carefully, managing time deliberately, and trusting practiced instincts. Approach each scenario as a miniature project. Assess context, analyze options, select the best course, and move forward. Calm is not a luxury, it is strategy. When the clock starts, your preparation becomes process discipline in action. With structure, rhythm, and composure, you convert a 3-hour challenge into a professional demonstration of control under uncertainty. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit DailyCyber.News.